almost the weekend. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis, and this is the Morning Edition. And as always, it's so great to have you in our company. For our first look on your weather outlook for the week, here's Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean.
This weather report is sponsored by Bank of the Bahamas, the bank of solutions.
Good morning, LaDawn. That area of high pressure that was anchored across the Bahamas has now moved east. Temperatures are warming up, but there is a cold front on the way. The details coming up later in the newscast. Mostly cloudy outside of our studios. Temperature at 73 degrees. Relative humidity 94%. South-southeast winds at 7 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,018.7 millibars. That's 30.08 inches, and it is rising. Temperatures this morning, we're picking up 75 degrees in Marsh Harbor, Green, Tokyo, all in Abaco. Freeport, Grand Bahama at 75 degrees, 76 in the Berry Islands. Alistown, Bimini, 77, 75 in Harbor Island. Rockside and Lutra, 75. Also, Alistown, Cat Island, 75 degrees. And that extends into Stanley Key, Kemp Space, Andros, and Fresh Creek in Central Andros. More 75 in San Salvador and Rim Key in Ragged Island. Clarencetown, Long Island, Crooked Island, Betsy Bay, and Acklands. They are Port 76. Matutani, Nagua, 77. And the Turks and Caicos Islands at 78 degrees. And if you're flying out this morning, well, here are some high and low temperatures you're likely to find at some of your favorite cities. That's going to do it for your travel forecast. Now for your boating forecast for today in the Northwestern Islands, you can expect it solidly flow at 10 to 15 knots. The wave heights are going to be around 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Low tide will take place at 10:12 this morning with the high tide at 3:59 this afternoon. Now for the central and southeastern islands, the winds will blow more from the southeast at 10 to 15 knots, and the wave heights also at 2 to 4 feet. That's going to do it for you first look at weather the morning edition. Stay tuned. Your forecast for today tonight is still ahead.
Thanks a lot, Basil. Meanwhile, our Crystal Darling and the Morning Edition team is standing by with the Bahamas First traffic report.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Good morning, LaDawn, and good morning, Bahamas. We're here on the intersection of Village Road and Shirley Street. Now, traffic is in a pretty steady flow right now, but we know going into the morning it gets a whole lot busier. Now, this morning I'm here with Sergeant Thompson from the Traffic Department. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you. Good morning, Bahamas.
Okay. Could you talk to us about what would have happened in traffic in the last 24 hours?
Okay, in the last 24-hour period, we had a total of 31 accidents, 2 of which involved accidents with injuries, and we had 2 hit-and-run accidents.
Okay, thank you. So we know when we talk about this area, speed is always a very important factor. So how has booking been so far? Has speed been one of the predominant offenses?
Yes, I would say speed would have been like the number 2 offense that we've been reporting persons for. Our number 1 offense now is reporting persons for the use of cell phones and other electronic devices.
Okay, and you mentioned that there are a lot of street signs in this area also to remind road users about the speed limit. Could you talk to us about those?
Yes, we want persons to pay attention to the speed limit signs and various traffic signs throughout the island. As I would have indicated, we have 2 speed signs that you could that are very, very visible, showing a 25 miles per hour speed. And most persons, when they're here in their own country, they don't observe these signs, and it's like these signs are invisible. They could park on the sign and not see the sign. But we want persons to pay attention and to be observant while driving and adhere to the speed limit signs.
Okay. And another thing that comes to mind when we see this area, there are a lot of walkers, there are a lot of pedestrians, people jogging in the morning, coming up from the beach. And there aren't much right now because we're going into the morning. But could you remind people in the area why it's important to look out for those persons? And could you talk to us about what people should be wearing when they're out jogging in the morning?
Yes, we'd like to remind motorists that, yes, this is indeed a very high pedestrian area where persons will come out and work out. We ask the pedestrians and persons who would frequent this area to wear high color clothing like either bright orange, bright red, fluorescent colors, so you could be visible to motorists in the area.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the traffic report. That's it for us. Thank you so much. And
well, now on to our top story this morning. The government intends to introduce legislation to regulate the digital currency market. The pilot for the digital cashless system has been introduced by the Central Bank of the Bahamas over in Exuma and in Abaco. Finance Minister, the Honorable Peter Turnquest, says the Bahamas is already making history in this regard and will become the first jurisdiction to introduce legislation that governs the digital currency market.
We are taking proactive and forward-looking steps to manage the global forces that affect us at home. As a country, we are leveraging technological innovations to advance financial sector resilience. We are working with the clearing banks associations and domestic microfinance institutions to promote and facilitate the transitions to a cashless economy. Cashless commerce and other innovative technological solutions can allow commercial banks to operate without the need for a physical presence, which is critical in an archipelagic nation like our own. As we know all too well, when disasters hit, banking services are often disrupted, and Abaco in particular is a case in point with respect to this.
Now, addressing issues relating to the global economic climate, Turnquest says the actions of developing nations could directly and indirectly impact countries like the Bahamas.
The current climate crisis and the associated catastrophic risk of natural disasters presents an existential threat to Caribbean nations. With each passing storm, whether it's on the doorstep of Dominica, the British Virgin Islands, or the islands of the Bahamas, more and more of our vulnerabilities as small island development states are being exposed, not only in terms of our economic resilience and national response, but also at the individual level for families wondering about their physical safety and their economic security should they be in the path of the next storm.
Meantime, Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line continues to be a reliable and sustainable lifeline for Grand Bahama. And with new owners set to redevelop the Grand Lucayan property, cruise line officials say they hope to play an even greater role in the island's tourism mix. Here's Atalia Hall.
For the past 10 years, Bahamas Paradise Cruise Lines has been a major contributor to the tourism sector on Grand Bahama. Cruise line officials are welcoming the sale of the Grand Lucayan property, noting that a new chapter in tourism will unfold with this new development. CEO of the company, O'Neill Kosher, was on hand for the official ceremony on the Great Lawn of the resort property. He says Bahamas Paradise Cruise Lines anticipates a huge boost when the redeveloped property opens.
It also reinforces that, Grand Bahama has a lot to offer, and I believe Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line and Grand Celebration will continue to provide the service, and it only gives us more options for our customers, for our guests, and the inhabitants of Grand Bahama that, there are more options, and we believe we'll be driving more traffic to the island. As the island offers more and more, how are these people going to get here? So we believe we are very well equipped to continue providing the service and get people to Grand Bahama in a very leisurely manner.
Bahamas Paradise Cruise Lines operates 2 ships from the port of Palm Beach, and Kosha says they plan to partner with the hotel property.
As you know, we also do cruise and stay. We are the only cruise line that generates hotel nights. So this is a big development for us because our cruise and stay offering will get enhanced. Our guests would have more options, and also it's going to be a revamped and new property. So we are very happy because our customers who were lacking a great hotel product in Grand Bahama will have one now.
And as for the company's commitment to Grand Bahama,
after Dorian, we helped a lot of people evacuate. In fact, even today, we are bringing Grand Bahamians back who stayed back, and we're trying to help them, and I think we'll continue to do that and continue to provide a great cruise service to Grand Bahama.
It's Talia Hall, ZNS Network News.
And when we come back, the latest technology to detect cancer has reached the Bahamian market. We have an exclusive coming up.
Influenza, or the flu as it is commonly called, is a viral illness that usually occurs between the months October to March. The virus is transmitted from person to person through coughing, sneezing, or talking. Symptoms include fever, cough, headache, runny nose, generalized body aches, and fatigue. There is no specific treatment for the flu, and the symptoms usually dissipate after 3 to 7 days. Because it is caused by a virus, antibiotics are not used to treat the flu. Persons are encouraged to rest and drink lots of fluids. Panadol is recommended for fever and body aches associated with the flu. However, aspirin should be avoided due to the risk of bleeding. To decrease the spread of flu, persons are encouraged to get their flu shot annually and practice good cough hygiene. Additional information can be provided by your community clinic or the Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
Everybody, are you on TV? Look, are you on TV? Mom, guess what it is? That's me. Bartender, do you see me? Are you on television? I gotta tell my girlfriend I'm on television.
Hello?
Babe, turn your television to ZNS. Quick, are you on television?
I don't have a TV in there.
We have Wi-Fi though.
We have Wi-Fi.
That's fine. They upgrade now. You can watch it live from your phone. You just have to download the app.
All right, hold on.
Go to the App Store, type in ZNS, download the app, and you'll be able to watch ZNS straight from your phone. Hurry up and start over again.
Get your news and more anytime, anywhere with the new ZNS app. Stay connected from around the globe with our live stream news updates, all in the palm of your hand. You can also listen to the ZNS Radio Network for your favorite music. Go into your Apple or Google Play Store and download the ZNS app today.
Present check?
Miss, I just stand now. I still gotta pay?
The natural resources of the Bahamas play a critical role in supporting Bahamian livelihoods. For example, the fishing and tourism industry, which include fishermen, seafood exporters, hoteliers, dive operators, restaurants, and others. Collectively, they generate approximately $1.5 billion a year. Therefore, we must respect and preserve what we have. These resources belong to us.
This is my livelihood.
This is my livelihood.
This is my livelihood.
So let's all do our part to maintain our local economy and a good quality of life. Remember, if we take care of nature, nature will take care of us.
Welcome back to the Morning Edition. The number of sexual offenses in the country continues to rise, and experts say more must be done to encourage victims to share their stories with the police. Failing to open up about the issues causes a lot of social, physical, and mental issues for victims. As we continue our police series this month, we take you behind the scenes of the Sexual Offenses Unit. Incest, rape, and sexual harassment are all offenses under the Sexual Offenses Act. Here in the Bahamas, these cases are on the rise among women and children. The Morning Edition went behind the scenes in both the children and sex offenses areas at the Central Detective Unit, monitoring officers as they compile clues to successfully prosecute sex offenders. Inspector Altaida Bowles is responsible for the Sexual Offenses Unit. She shared with us some of the trends seen over the years.
Well, what we have observed is that when we have runaways or missing persons, and these are the teenagers, we have a direct correlation between runaways and unlawful sexual intercourse. So, missing person is not an offense, it's a report. What occurs after you've run away, or during the time you were missing is the offense if it's actually something that is against the law. So most of the time we find that when we have our individuals that we have reported missing and we interview them after they've been recovered, we found that they have engaged in sexual intercourse. So there's a direct correlation between runaways and unlawful sexual intercourse.
Another major concern for Bowles is the increase in the number of incest cases across the country.
This time I cannot say rape and incest is on the rise. We've had cases of rape and incest. With incest, there's a stigma with incest. So you cannot say it's on the rise. Back in the day, I'm saying back in the day, I may not look that old or young, but back in the day, you have individuals saying, hey, that happened in the family. That stays in the family. So now with knowledge, people are reporting these incidents more. So I cannot say it's on the rise. We would have to go back and study what was back then. And to find that out, we have to go into individuals' family and say, hey, did this happen? And if they never reported it, how would we know?
Now, when asked about the reasons why teenage girls go missing and whether or not they are in fact reportedly with male friends, this is how Bowles responded.
We have some cases of that. I wouldn't say that is like a outstanding problem that we really have to dig deep in. But we have a lot of cases where there are teenagers, females running away to be with their peers. But we also have cases where they are running away to be with older individuals. We have also noted that another trend is that individuals that are attending PACE. We have these females that are pregnant. Some individuals do not know that if a minor is anyone under the age of 18, is pregnant, it has to be reported to the police. Now, they may have gotten pregnant during the time that they can give consent, but it has to be reported.
Investigator Corporal LaQuint Johnson says they've had a good success rate in bringing justice to the victims. However, he says recording statements and carrying out the investigation itself is a thorough process.
Our statements are very, very detailed. And that, again, I don't really want to speak to, but it's very, very detailed as to what transpired from the beginning straight to the end.
It's not easy ensuring that children who are victims feel comfortable, but Inspector Johnson says a special psychologist is attached to the unit to make sure it happens.
We have a psychologist or a professional, her name is Dr. Carter, and she assists us greatly with these matters pertaining to juveniles in particular. And even in cases where we have adults, some of those adults also speak with Dr. Carter, who is able to assist with these persons.
While there are a number of instances where victims drop the charges or their complaints against a suspect, Inspector Bowles says there are also instances where a sexual offense is not reported.
We have cases where persons would want to not follow through with the complaint, but there aren't much cases where we have persons who flat out say, well, listen, hey, I'm not going to follow through with this complaint. Most of our cases are when it goes to court, they go to trial, and we have a very good conviction rate.
Statistics indicate that 1 in 8 women will develop cancer in her lifetime, and globally efforts have been made to enhance early detection. Well, a local clinic has just installed one of the latest machines in cancer technology. Here's Crystal Darling.
Over the last few years, conventional two-dimensional mammograms have been used for detecting early signs of cancer. However, each year, technology is getting better at identifying subtle signs of the deadly disease. One of the latest models in breast cancer detection technology is now available here in the Bahamas, the Hologic Mammogram Machine. Family Medicine Center Director Dr. Graham Cates says that the availability of this type of technology in the country is crucial.
We know that breast cancer in the Bahamas, we have one of the highest number of cases of breast cancer throughout the world. A lot of it is related to the BRCA gene. We see women that are much earlier on in their breast cancer with much more aggressive breast cancer. And so the better that we can detect it, the more available that we have these machines, not only here in New Providence, but throughout the islands, it really is going to help to improve, obviously, the quality of life of women, and most importantly, saving lives.
Cates adds that following the installation of the new equipment, his team began communication with local cancer centers.
So we've already reached out to the Breast Cancer Society in Eleuthera, the Breast Cancer Society in Abaco, and we are having conversations with them about the equipment that we have. Our proximity to the airport makes us easily accessible so that patients will actually be able to come in the morning and go right back out in the afternoon, having their results, knowing exactly what the results are.
And the sophisticated machine is 20 to 65% more accurate than conventional equipment.
These three-dimensional pictures are captured by this unique piece of equipment here, and by collecting this data, we're able to analyze the breast tissue in multiple dimensions. So the benefit of doing 3D mammography is for helping to early detection of breast cancer, and if we actually find something abnormal on the mammogram that we take, it's more likely that it is a true abnormality on the mammogram.
Kate says that the risk of radiation exposure is also reduced.
All mammograms have an exposure of radiation. Now, this is a very small exposure, but the exposure is reduced by up to 40% in the digital mammography compared to just traditional 2D mammograms.
Despite this new level of accuracy, Dr. Cates emphasized that prevention is still better than cure.
Generally, anyone 40 and above should be having a yearly mammogram, and I really encourage women in the Bahamas to take advantage of the technologies that are now available to you to get your mammograms done. It's important because early detection saves lives.
Crystal Darling, ZNS Network News.
Thanks a lot, Crystal. Now to education, where the top spellers will be pulling out the words and in their spelling skills this coming Sunday. The event over the years has brought together students from across the country going head-to-head for the top prize this Sunday. Now joining us live in studio to talk more about that spelling bee competition is Shakanta Williams and our very own Mr. Vaughn Ulrey. Vaughn, welcome to the Morning Edition.
Good morning, welcome.
Well,
I am now with the Ministry of Education. Yes.
Thanks for clarifying that for us, Vaughn. So, Vaughn, we'll speak to you. Firstly, talk to us a little bit about the expectations for the upcoming spelling bee this Sunday.
Well, in fact, good morning, LaDawn. This is the 23rd version of the National Spelling Bee Championships, and it will be held on Sunday at 3 p.m. at the Crown Ballroom of the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island. We're inviting everyone. Last year, in fact, Roy Seligman of the Lyford Key School, he beat out Kevin Williams from the Yellow Elder Primary School, and that competition last year went quite a number of rounds. So this year, both of them will be in it again. We don't know who will emerge victorious. There are a number of students throughout the Bahamas, Ms. Shakantala.
Actually, we're expecting 22 participants from the various districts throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to participate this coming Sunday. Actually, I'd like to say also that the spelling bee was first introduced to the Bahamas some 23 years ago by Mr. Oswald Brown, the then managing editor of the Nassau Guardian. The Nassau Guardian has been our proud sponsor for the past 22 years.
Talking about this year's competition, there are a number of schools. Every district is represented, but this year there are no representatives from Abaco.
Abaco, exactly, and that is due to Hurricane Dorian.
Are there any other changes to the competition this year?
Actually, this year we're not going to be airing the competition live. That's why it's important for persons to come out and support our students.
Share with us, the prizes and the opportunities for the students, the winners.
Okay, well, the winner gets to go to the Scripps National Spelling Bee Competition. That's in May in Washington, D.C., the American capital. But the winner also gets $750 cash, a laptop computer, among other prizes.
And what impact can you say that the spelling bee has had not only on the winner, but the students participating in the actual competition?
Well, actually, students not only learn how to pronounce words, they learn parts of speech, definitions, but they've also gone on to be excellent debaters.
And in fact, most of the past winners, they have gone on to become leaders in our society.
Absolutely.
So spelling is a good thing, and we know that.
And what is actually, I guess, the Ministry of Education doing, to attract more participants?
Well, you realize that this competition does not just begin this month. No. This is a months-long process involving every district throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So there are competitions in schools. No, let me start. In classrooms,
yes.
In schools, in districts, in islands, and nationally.
Exactly.
And talk to us a little bit more about the event. Where is it going to be and what time?
The event is going to be, the final competition is scheduled for this coming Sunday, March 8th, commencing at 3 p.m. in the Crown Ballroom at the Atlantis Paradise Island.
But also with our participants, particularly those from the family violence, they arrive here in the capital today, and there will be an orientation and reception at the Ministry of Youth on University Boulevard tomorrow. There is a competition, a written competition, which includes vocabulary words where they have to give the definition, as well as spelling words. Then they get to go to Atlantis, where they will have a little bit of fun. And the actual competition is on Sunday. So we're inviting everyone out. But in particular, we wanted to thank the teachers and others.
Exactly. The teachers, they are the coaches as well as the parents, you know, and anyone actually who contributes to the success of these students. Now, Vaughn, we don't want to forget also that these students will also be treated to a courtesy call with the Governor General tomorrow after the written competition, and that's quite important, and they're looking forward to that.
And what's the actual mood of the students? Have you been in contact with any of the students?
Well, they arrived today, so we will both meet them this afternoon.
Exactly, and at the orientation this evening. So Family Island contestants should be actually en route to Nassau now, and this evening we will meet everyone and come together.
And you know what I'm most proud of? Most of the winners have come from independent schools, private schools, but every year the public schools have been doing a very good job, like Kevin Williams from Yellow Elder Primary. We also have a number of returning students. There are 5 who were in this competition before, and one of those is Cavano Seymour from Mangrove Key and South Andros, and we have a Miss Eugene from Shemaya Eugene. She's from Cat Island. Yeah, so...
And Azaria Lewis, Azaria Lewis from Grand Bahama.
Yes. So we really have a lot of fierce competitors from the family violence.
Because, you know, there's always been that myth that the private schools are dominating over the public schools, but that's not so, Mr. Aubrey.
No, sorry, no. The public schools have been doing quite well, and we really like to thank the teachers and the parents for their participation in this process.
Any final comments for the actual competition? I guess to rally up the youth to come out and support?
Well, actually, that's the aim, for persons actually to come out and support this initiative. Like we said, it won't be aired live this year. It will be taped for later viewing. But if you can come out and support, and in particular, bring those students who would be eligible to participate in the competition, and that gives them a sense of what it's all about and actually get them excited about it. So please, we're looking forward to the general public support.
Okay, Ms. Williams, Mr. Aubrey, thank you guys so much for joining us here on the Morning Edition, and best of luck to you guys on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. A major tree planting initiative is being launched today. A live interview straight ahead.
When you've got a problem with auto glass, the Windshield House has the solution. Our technicians will replace your broken glass and have you back on the road in no time. We have a wide selection of windshields to replace your damaged one, and we ship to the Family Islands. With excellent service and prices, we guarantee your satisfaction. The Windshield House and Parts Locator, Abundant Life Road.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, your hottest place on the planet for rims, tints, tires, and auto sales. We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Weston, Lux, fuel, track life, tough, rough racing, velocity, mud, all-terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king. Blessed love. That's how God
For the latest news and highlights in Bahamian culture, tune in to the new Junkanoo 242, Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on the ZNS Radio and Television Network. Radio Bahamas 1540 a.m. on 104.5 FM and TV 13. Each week, hosts Arlene Nash Ferguson and Darren Bastian engages listeners with some of the movers and shakers of Junkanoo and Bahamian culture. Don't miss Junkanoo 242, Saturday at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on the ZNS Radio and Television Network.
Influenza, or the flu as it is commonly called, is a viral illness that usually occurs between the months October to March. The virus is transmitted from person to person through coughing, sneezing, or talking. Symptoms include fever, cough, headache, runny nose, generalized body aches, and fatigue. There is no specific treatment for the flu, and the symptoms usually dissipate after 3 to 7 days. Because it is caused by a virus, antibiotics are not used to treat the flu. Persons are encouraged to rest and drink lots of fluids. Panadol is recommended for fever and body aches associated with the flu. However, aspirin should be avoided due to the risk of bleeding. To decrease the spread of flu, persons are encouraged to get their flu shot annually and practice good cough hygiene. Additional information can be provided by your community clinic or the Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
To Grand Bahama, where an executive of the Humane Society is urging dog owners and operators to be more responsible. Here's Atalia Hall.
Executive Director of the Humane Society, Tip Barrows, says dogs are friendly pets, but that is only the case when they are properly cared for. She says too many times dog owners are not giving their pets the adequate care that they need.
The biggest problem is not the breed of the dog or the way the dog looks or anything else, it's the way they're cared for. And unfortunately, we do have a huge problem on this island with too many people acquiring these dogs, not taking proper care of them, not socializing them, housing them in cages or kennels and tying them up and stuff like that, which would make any dog crazy and aggressive. So when you see a pit bull type dog, it doesn't mean they're dangerous. But any dog can bite if provoked or if not socialized properly or trained properly.
And if you are approached by a dog while walking the street,
people should always take caution when approaching a strange dog or if they see a strange dog. It doesn't mean every dog's going to bite you, but if you don't know a dog, it's best to keep a distance. But the biggest problem is people not keeping their dogs confined safely in their yards or their homes. And so, it all comes back to the owner.
She says there are laws in place relating to dogs that she believes needs to be enforced on the island, and owners must take full responsibility for their pets.
Common sense just tells you when you see a strange dog, don't run up to it, obviously. Call somebody, call the police, 2 to 1 they're going to call us. We help as much as we can because we want to keep people safe and animals safe. But we don't want to see any breed of dog being demonized unnecessarily. But at the same time, the people who own these dogs need to know there's a public perception out there that is negative, and it's on them to do right and do better.
Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Well, a national drive is being launched to plant 1,000 trees. It's part of a regional tree planting initiative. The event is being launched at the Queen's College this morning. Here's Crystal Darling.
Good morning, Ladon, and good morning, Bahamas. We're here at Queen's College on Village Road, and we're talking about the 100,000 tree planting initiative. I'm here with leader of the initiative and climate change activist Chaz Garraway. Good morning, Mr. Garraway.
Good morning, Crystal. How are you?
Okay, I'm good. Okay, so could you talk to us about this initiative and why you felt it important to head it off?
So the 100,000 tree planting initiative started back last year when we spoke. I'm a part of the Caribbean Philanthropic Alliance, and so at the UN last year we spoke about some of the dangers that climate change will pose for the Caribbean, and so we decided to plant 1 million trees across the region, and in the Bahamas we have decided to do 100,000.
Okay, so I think the question in everyone's mind right now is, we have so much trees here, why do we need more?
Yeah, it's a good question. You might drive around and think, oh, it's so green, but it's more than just terrestrial trees. We're also targeting mangroves and coastal restoration, because even after Hurricane Dorian, a lot of our coastlines and mangroves have been destroyed, and so we want to rebuild that coastal protection, as well as grow more terrestrial trees to provide food and other sort of benefits that trees provide.
Okay, so we know that with climate change, and you mentioned Hurricane Dorian, there are a lot of people who build on the coastlines. Are you trying to change that or push any policy to have that change? You know, people building on the coastlines, on the shorelines, and knocking down the mangroves and other trees that you've been talking about?
So maybe that might be further down the line, but the scope of our project that we're trying to initiate with the 100,000 tree planting is just to gain awareness around climate action, to let people know that they could be a part of the solution, and that, you know, you don't have to do this grand thing to be a part of fighting climate change. You could plant a tree and that could be your contribution, and that's really good too. So
okay, excellent. I think that's a wonderful idea. Now, talking about climate change, you're very young yourself, and you talked about incorporating a lot of younger people in it through school programs. So could you talk to us about that?
Right. So Melissa here, she's our Bahamian leader, but part of the plan for our tree planting is to get as much of the different schools involved as possible, to get trees grown on their campus, to get them involved with different initiatives. Like on Saturday is our first planting, and so we're going to have a few kids come out to Blue Lagoon to plant as much trees as we can to really kick off the event. So the youth is really a big part of this whole project.
And I like that you spoke about the youth as well. So with the youth being a part of the project, why is it so important that young people, school-age children, get involved with projects like this one?
I think it's important because it lets them feel like they can do something, because, you know, sometimes as a young person or even as a child you feel like, oh, there's really nothing I can do. Like adults feel that way, so imagine little kids. So getting them involved, they like to do fun things. It helps them to learn too. So I think it's good just to get them involved from an early age, so as they grow up they could be more involved if they choose to be.
Okay, so you mentioned the schools, but talk to us about your partners and who's helping you out with this initiative. We know that nobody can do it alone.
Right, so right here we have in the Bahamas we have a team of 18 currently organizing our team, and it's led by Melissa, and we have a lot of international partners from a regional perspective that will help the Bahamas, like the Bill Clinton Foundation. Trees That Feed, the UN is actually helping us under their 1 trillion tree planting initiative. So we're getting a lot of help from a lot of places.
Okay, wow, that is big stuff. So as a young person, what made you, what drew you to climate change? What drew you into activism?
I've always been interested. The first time I saw what global warming, I saw that, I said, what is that? And so I went in my dictionary, because, you know, we didn't have Google. And then I saw what it was, and I just got interested, and I started doing more and getting more involved. And because there's not enough action being done. And so I felt that somebody had to do it. So I took up the mantle and got to work.
Okay, and what was it like putting this group together? What was it like getting people on your team? Was it a smooth process? Was it a quick transition? Or did you face a lot of challenges in trying to make this type of move in the Bahamas?
That's a good question. I feel like the people that needed to, like all the people that I have in the team now, they're all really excited to be a part of it, and I feel that they are prepared and ready to do this. They just needed someone to glue them together to say, hey, we could work together and really accomplish something big. So.
And you said that you're going to get schools engaged. So what is the first step in the in getting this 100,000 trees planted?
Right, so today we're here at Queens College and we're launching the project. We want to kick it off in a big way and just get people excited, get like how you guys are here, get the word out that we're doing this initiative and that we're trying to get as much people involved. Don't matter if you're 5 or 90, we want you planting a tree or helping out. So, we just want everybody involved.
Okay. And lastly, what is the future? What would you want to accomplish by doing all of this? What's your goal at the end of the day?
So this is just the first of many projects that we will be doing, but I think the goal for this one is to just get people excited about climate action, showing them that it's not boring, that it's something that could be exciting, that they can do on their own, and that they could feel like they are part of such a bigger collective since we're doing it regionally.
Okay, thank you so much. But before we end, could you tell people how they can get involved with this initiative? Could you tell schools that may not be a part of it or that may not have been reached out to yet? Can you tell them how they can reach out to you and become involved?
Right, so we have a website, thesustainablelifestyle.org. We're on Instagram. The Sustain Your Belly is our hashtag.
Can you spell that out?
Sustain, SUSTAINYA. Belly, your belly.
Sustain your belly.
Sustain your belly.
Okay, you heard it here first.
And then and our email is 242 sustainable lifestyle. Yes, at gmail.com.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure interviewing you this morning. Back to you in the studio, LaDawn.
Thanks a lot, Crystal Fisher. It's almost the weekend. What's coming up?
This month is really going by fast. It's the best month of the year.
I'm sure it is. You have a special day coming up, eh?
Yes, very soon. I'll be treating you again and the rest of the nation. We don't look forward to a big treat this time. Well, coming up in sports, some sad news for big man DeAndre Ayton injuring his ankle once again. He's going to miss a few games. Then talking about QC, they have to dig deep today because they are behind the Big Red Machine of Sac as the private school track and field championship enters day number 2. We also have action from the New Providence Basketball Association, and then an umpire. He's going on a special course to represent the 242. He's making big moves, so all that coming up in sports.
All of that and more ahead in sports.
They need shelter from the rain and the sun. They want to be loved and part of a family.
They need food and water just like you and me.
They need lots of walks to be happy.
They just want to have fun.
They want to be treated kindly.
What a dog wants, what a dog needs, what a dog wants, what a dog needs.
Hepatitis is the inflammation of the liver, which is the organ responsible for filtering toxins from the body, producing bile for digestion, and producing proteins and clotting factors. The most important cause of hepatitis worldwide is viruses, of which there are 5 main types: A, B, C, D, and E. Hepatitis B and C are major health challenges globally, affecting over 300 million persons worldwide. The suspicion of hepatitis may be a challenge as there are typically no symptoms. However, if infected, non-specific symptoms may include decreased appetite, nausea, vague abdominal discomfort, jaundice or yellow eyes, and abnormal liver function tests. If not treated, hepatitis of any type can lead to cirrhosis and liver cancer, which leads to over 1 million deaths worldwide. If you suspect you may have been exposed to the virus that causes hepatitis, talk to your doctor today and get tested.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority in conjunction with the Medical Association of the Bahamas and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Nature-based tourism supplies almost $50 million in revenue for Androsians every year. These priceless resources will continue to provide renewable benefits for thousands of people for years to come, as long as we take long-term action to preserve what's rightfully ours. The natural environment has played a vital role in our culture and economy for generations. Let's take care of nature, and nature will take care of us.
We want Bahamians to understand that national parks are simply land and marine areas reserved for their environmental and cultural importance, so that Bahamians will be able to sustainably use, benefit from, and enjoy these resources now and in the future.
Once again, everybody, they entered day 2 of the BAISS Track and Field Championships over at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. Early, it's a 2-team race again as the Big Red Machine of Sac. They have gotten out the blocks quick and leads with 416 points, 45.5 points ahead of the defending champs, Queens College Comets, who has 337.5. Sister schools, St. John's and St. Anne's, 3rd and 4th, respectively, with 167 and 151.5. Temple Christian 5th, 94 points, followed by Kingsway, 61. Jordan Prince Will, 49. Nassau Christian Schools, 36. St. Andrews and Charles W. Sanders, they are tied for 9th with 16 points apiece. Lyford Key, 11th with 10. And rounding out the fleet is Aquinas with 9. Now the meet continues this morning at 9:30 over there at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. There's lots of red and green as the two top schools, Sac and Queens College, will be battling on the track and also on the field. The Providence Basketball Association playoffs picking up last night with the discount distributor Rockets running with the Leno Regulators and the Rockets jumping out early, hitting the shots for a 39-22 lead at the half. Feeling like they had the game in cruise control, Rockets eased off a bit, and that allowed Leno to mount some runs of their own, a 10-zip run in the third, and Leno was right back in it, only down 61-50 after 3. Fourth quarter, D. Johnson getting some good minutes from his bench, and the Rockets outscored them 42-18 to lock up the Game 1 series win for the discount distributor Rockets, 86-75. Livingston Munnings had 15 points, 11 boards. Dalrod Chicken Nose also with 15, Ernest Sanders 14, and Giorgio Walks had 11. For Low, it was Alexander who won the game at 29, Chico Francis with 12.
Yeah, it's always good to win the first game of the season. The guys was a little sluggish in the second half. They play no defense. They turn over the ball, miss a lot of easy shots. I have confidence in my bench. The bench is the one who really causes you to win when you give them confidence in games like this. When that name or call again, they'll be ready.
It's typical of my basketball team. But the problem is we dig ourselves such a huge hole. That's kind of difficult to get back. My guys are fighters, and I think they know that. And at the end of the day, that's something we got to adjust. We had a lot of turnovers. That kind of put us in that bind. I think Alex came out tonight. He came out to play basketball, but some adjustments, some stuff that we like, that we saw tonight, we probably capitalize it for next game, but we too big a hole.
Another blow for big man DeAndre Ayton. The Phoenix Suns center left Tuesday's 123-114 loss to the Toronto Raptors after suffering a left ankle injury and did not return. Ayton was receiving a pass down low from Ricky Rubio when he went down with 2:50 left in the fourth quarter. The former #1 overall pick tried to turn for a short attempt, but Toronto's OG Anunoby seemed to get caught on Ayton's left leg. Ayton would walk to the locker room under his own power with a noticeable limp. The second-year big man had x-rays and was using crutches to move about the locker room after the game. Ayton had 13 points, 14 rebounds, another double-double with 3 blocks in 39 minutes. Now the 6'11", 250-pound big man ankles have caused him numerous problems since entering the NBA. Now, after missing 25 games at the beginning of the season for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy, Ayton returned for 1 game but then missed 5 straight contests with the same right ankle sprain. He also sat 2 games with left ankle soreness before the All-Star break. Now, Ayton also suffered a left ankle sprain in January of last year that forced him to miss 6 games. The center then enjoyed a 2-month period of good health before suffering another left ankle sprain. No word as yet on how long Ayton will be out this time. We're wishing him the best. Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Anisha Rolle, confirming that repairs are now underway to restore the Kendall J. Isaacs Gym after it was used the last few months as a hurricane shelter. Hurricane Dorian destroying many sporting facilities on Grand Bahama and Abaco. And the budget will include costing for all repairs, in particular the Kendall.
I know in the budget about $1.2 million was allocated to us to begin restoration efforts, and that's not only with the NSA, that's also with our Family Island, in particular Grand Bahama office that was totally sort of demolished to an extent in terms of the hurricane and all of our everything from that office. It was underwater, and so we're going to begin those things in a sort of structured format, but hopefully be able to give a timeline to you as soon as possible once we've completed this initial inspection of the NSA facilities.
Now, the Clifton Swimming Championships right around the corner, set for April 5th through 9th in Barbados. Anya McPhail, Carden Wells, and Anishka Gibbs all putting in the time, hoping to make it on Team 242.
I'm just trying to keep as hydrated as possible, get enough sleep, and just keep my body rested in time for competition, so when it comes to get up and go, I can. I think it will be competitive because there are a lot of fast people that are swimming at Carifta trials, and it will definitely push me to do better.
The competition this year will be much harder than it was before last year, but it's a good thing because it will push me to go better times.
Well, swimming is all about time. You're right. Gibbs and Wells both know what is needed to make the cut.
For 50 breaststroke, I plan to go 35, 100 breaststroke, plan to go under 120, and for 200 breaststroke, about 254.
I'm hoping to go to 12 in the 200 free, 34 and 50 breast, and hopefully 115 and 100 breast.
Former player turned coach and now umpire Martin Paul Burris continuing to make a name for himself on the international scene, having called games at many international sporting events. He is now embarking on a new venture, the College Recruitment Umpires Clinic, to be held next week in West Palm Beach, Florida.
After completing this clinic, I'll be eligible to umpire college baseball. I've been doing international umpiring baseball. Last year, I had the opportunity to go to the Carl Ripken Babe Ruth World Games. And hopefully I'll be back there next year, August 6th to the 15th. And I've been doing international umpiring softball in Orlando for about 10 years now. And this is a big push for me because, you know, I'm over the 55 plus category now, so I'm looking at the retirement, and this is my retirement plan. Once I achieve this goal, I'll be eligible to do baseball college games.
Well, congratulations to Martin Paul Burris. That's going to do it for sports for all Pisces. The big 4-0 is right around the corner. Enjoy your day.
Our marine resources were once considered inexhaustible. Conch and reef fish like grouper were abundant everywhere, and it seemed as if the lobster catch would rise forever. But today, there is a downward trend that affects everyone. Researchers say we can reverse the trend by protecting more marine habitats. And the good news is that most Bahamians strongly support efforts to halt further decline. Tripling the size of our network of marine parks will mean more fish and conch for everyone now and for the future, as well as more recreational and ecotourism opportunities. Today, only 10% of our waters are protected. Surveys show that most Bahamians consider protection of our marine environment to be a top national priority. More protection means more benefits for everyone, now and in the future. It's a win-win-win strategy for the economy, for Bahamians, and for nature. Protect our sea, protect our way of life, protect the Bahamas. See the future. Visit Bahamas Protected on Facebook to learn more about marine protected areas.
If you're in a violent or abusive relationship, know that there is help for you. Just reach out to a pastor, a trusted friend, the Bahamas Crisis Center, or social services. Even the police can help. We don't like to talk about violence against women, but we need to have that conversation. Break the cycle, know the signs, and get out before it's too late. Say no to violence against women.
National parks are areas set aside to provide a natural scenic gateway into nature. There are 27 national parks managed by the Bahamas National Trust scattered throughout the Bahamas, which play a phenomenal role in helping sustain and preserve all forms of life and Bahamian livelihoods. Visit and learn more about national parks in your area. Contact the Bahamas National Trust today.
In our final look at whether that area of high that has been stationed across the Bahamas all week long has finally moved off towards the east, so you'll see the winds now flowing out of the south, and that will pave the way for the arrival of a front system, which we'll get in here on Friday night. With that front will come some rains, maybe some thunderstorms as well, but behind that, the winds will pick up. We're looking at 20 to 25 knots. Those winds will be gusting up to 35 knots at times, so very rough sea conditions over the weekend. So small boaters, we're asking you to just simply stay in port over the weekend. Here's the frontal boundary now approaching the central Gulf of Mexico, advancing quite nicely towards the east. Those clouds will start increasing over the extreme northwest Bahamas by tomorrow morning. Our forecast for today calls for mostly sunny and warm with a high temperature of 83 degrees, and temperature-wise, they will be climbing gradually, peaking out at 82 degrees just around 1 o'clock this afternoon. After that, the temperatures will start going downhill. And our forecast for tonight calls for mainly clear skies, a bit on the mild side with your low temperature getting down to 72 degrees, and your extended weather forecast, nice weather right into Friday morning, but Friday afternoon, the clouds will start thickening, showers start developing as we go into the nighttime hours, and by the time we get into Saturday, we'll get some sunshine in the afternoon, but remember, those winds will start picking up on Saturday, and by Sunday, we're looking at very, very breezy conditions, but most importantly, the temperatures in the mid-70s during the daytime, and we'll see temperatures once again in the low 60s during the nighttime. LaDawn?
Thanks a lot, Basil, and that does it for us this morning. For the entire Morning Edition team, I'm LaDawn Davis. Make it a great day, everyone.